Evening, Patriots. I have got a story for you. This is actually breaking news. Just hit the Gateway Pundit minutes ago, but I was actually watching the story as it was breaking on the Sean Ryan show. If you don't know who Sean Ryan is, he is a military veteran. He's a former Navy SEAL. He's got a huge podcast here on YouTube. He gets some of the best interviews I've ever seen. He gets better interviews than Joe Rogan, as far as I'm concerned. He gets military intel people. He gets people about UFOs. He gets people on his show that are experts on things like EMPs. He gets people on his show that discuss aerial phenomenon, so many things that you don't hear too much about. From people like Stephen Greer and David Hecker, and a lot of the people that really kind of intrigue my brain. It's usually stuff that's over my capacity of thinking level, but I still like to listen to it anyway, just because I like to go down the rabbit hole sometimes with some of the investigative stuff that some of these people have spent their entire lives exposing. And Stephen Greer is another one. If you don't know who Stephen Greer is, go check him out. He's awesome. He discusses everything from what's going on in Antarctica to weapons that DARPA controls. It just so many different topics. I listen to him on Sean Ryan's show and a few other shows. But back to what I was talking about, Sean Ryan seems to get some really great guests on his show. And a lot of the times they're military oriented or whistleblowers or something that's just really juicy exposing. Well, today on his show, he has got a guest that is military as well, that was in correspondence through emails with the guy that supposedly blew up in the Tesla truck in front of Trump Tower in Las Vegas. You believe that, folks? It's just, there's emails to prove it. The emails, the guy's Signal account was actually changed after he was killed. So many things to break down. This is actually an hour plus long video, but I cut it down into the best about 7 or 8 segments of the entire thing. I watched the thing twice in order to be able to do this. But at any rate, if you want to watch the full interview, it's on my channel on Devoted Patriots 2 on X. All you got to do is jump over to that on my profile, and you'll find it easy enough. If you want to watch the whole thing, because I left a lot of it out. I can't put y'all through over an hour of somebody else's entire interview, but I did find the highlights and the things that just shocked me to the core as to what the hell this guy got blowed up behind or killed himself behind. And it has something to do with the drones, has something to do with covering the government covering stuff up, and has a lot to do with this guy was trying to tell his story and end up something tragic happening instead. He was actually trying to reach out to Sean Ryan. That's how he's involved in the story. He did reach out to this guy here, this guy Sam, on this interview. He's telling the whole story. And he even wanted to talk to Pete Hegseth and anybody he could, Fox News, anybody he could actually get to tell his story. This guy had obviously believed he had information from his tours of duty and information about bad things in the government and information involving the drones, which is a national security threat. And he discuss this in the email. So stick around, folks. This is guaranteed to be a crazy episode. That's all we're going to talk about today is the Sean Ryan show and this whistleblower Sam on his show talking about the email that was sent to him just a couple of days ago before this crazy tragic accident or situation happened, whether it was government involved, whether it was one lone man trying to just blow himself up and not kill anybody else, because it was mostly fireworks. So many questions, such a weird situation. So many questions. We're getting a whole lot of speculation over here on X, but truth be known, this guy right here probably has the truth. From everything that I watched on this interview, this sounds more like the truth than anything else I could imagine. This guy was trying to get away from the government. He was being followed. He was trying to expose something and couldn't get it out there quick enough. He was actually saying it had to be done by the 1st for some reason. And like I said, the full interview is on my channel on X. But let's go ahead and get into the clips, folks. And matter of fact, Sean Ryan was contacted by a couple of the 3-lettered agencies, including CID, because they knew that this guy was trying to contact Sean Ryan to get his story out. And they knew Sean Ryan was doing an interview with this guy, Sam here. And so the whole thing gets sticky right off the bat. Here we go. Let's go ahead and jump into it. It says retired intelligence officer Sam Shoemate received email manifesto allegedly linked to Tesla Cybertruck explosion suspect Matthew Livelsberger. Claims FBI was tracking him and attempting to be a whistleblower. He even said in the manifesto, "That's why I'm riding around with a gun in my truck and explosives in the truck as well." A shocking incident unfolded at the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, New York on New Year's Day when a car bomb exploded on the property, sparking concerns of a deeper conspiracy. Now, we're not going to get into the Shawn Michaels email thing yet, but I'll show you that closer to the end. This is the actual manifesto letter right here, but we're going to have him read it to us. Let's get a little backstory on this thing. This is Shawn Ryan, if you don't know.
At Trump Hotel in Las Vegas.
Right.
Jump in an interview and come out. My phone is blown up. Apparently CID, Army CID, which is, how would you describe it? It's like it's
FBI light.
Yeah.
They are federal agents, but yeah,
the Army's FBI.
Yeah.
I get all these messages from these people that say CID is talking to this person and that person, and one of these guys on the list is still operational, and they want his name redacted, and every Green Beret I know is texting me about this. It fucking really freaked me out, man. It was like, well, how did this leak? Who's tracking my fucking phone? All that kind of stuff. So I just want to say thank you for being here, because I was eavesdropping in on that conversation you had with Jeremy, and this is a big story, man. This is big.
So Sean Ryan's phone was obviously being tapped, or somebody knew enough about the fact that he was going to be able to interview this guy that had an email connection with the guy that exploded in the vehicle, Mr. Livelsberger. Just getting started, folks. This is a crazy, crazy story. We'll get a little bit of a backstory on Sam as well, just to show his proof of credibility, where he came from, why people come to him. He actually has people from all the military branches come to him with their stories. They squeal on particular or on their higher ups in the military that are doing heinous acts, maybe mistreating the soldiers or whatever the case be, criminal acts or whatever. They bring it to him, and he's able to expose this occasionally. So he has a platform as well. So that's how he has actually got involved in this. Maybe the guy that blew up in the vehicle, I believe he was trying to reach out to this guy to get his story out there about what he wanted to tell the whole world about these drone attacks and so many other things that he's seen with his own eyes, including something that happened in 2019. Crazy story, folks. Stick around. All right, we'll go right on to the next clip. All right, folks. I got my little cheat sheet over here somewhere.
Undercover and not burn their entire operation of what they're into right now. And there was one more thing. I want to give a little background on you. Retired from the Army in 2023 as a CW2 intelligence officer and understand the information war. In 2020, you were still on active duty. You started a social media account where you intended to share memes and GIFs. Despite your intentions, the account grew into what it is today. You've developed, what is the account's name?
It's an Instagram account, goes by Terminal CWO.
Terminal CWO. You've developed a robust network of service members across the Department of Defense who trust you with their reports of unethical and, in some cases, illegal behavior from their leaders. You expose the unethical and illegal behavior while protecting whistleblowers in order to hold military leaders accountable, which is why you received the email from the Green Beret. And because of your background, you come across wild information all the time. You're here today because of an email you received from Matthew Livelsberger a couple of days before the Cybertruck bombing at Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. You'll also be able to discuss what you know about the terrorists who conducted the New Orleans attack. Did I miss anything?
No, that sums it up. Yeah.
Perfect.
I'll give a background on why that's significant so your viewers understand how this came into my inbox.
So that's a little bit of his credentials there, folks. Just to show that he's not new at this. He's 20-year military in the intelligence part of the military. Seems very credible at this point. I don't know why you would come out and lie about this. I have to believe everything he's saying. Now, there's speculations on what exactly happened. That's still opinion at this point, but we'll go ahead and play several more clips of this, just some things that were said. But the email is what's going to blow your socks off, folks. We're getting to that.
Let's go to you, Sam. Tell me how you got the email.
All right. So for context, I've run this account for the last 4.5 years. There have been people in and out writing articles and different stuff and just investigations, some big, some small, just trying to keep accountability in the military, but developed a robust network within the military, all branches, and people feed into this and send me messages and here and there. Nothing ever like this has ever come in. But well, it started off as comments. So when you have a big Instagram account, you're going to miss a lot of messages because people message, go to hidden messages and everything else. You miss a lot of stuff. Well, I kept seeing this comment on recent posts that I put in there, and it was from this burner account that said, hey, check your DMs, check your DMs, check your DMs. So I go in there and try to find it. There's no message from this guy, hadn't come through or whatever. And then he messages again once that message was opened up. And I said, hey, your previous messages haven't come through. What do you want to tell me? And he said, what I'm going to send you, now these are literally his words. What I'm going to send you is going
Here it is, folks.
to change the course of humanity. That was his phrase, change the course of humanity. Okay, a little bit dramatic. I get these messages all the time. People have this big story they want to tell. They want to expose their command, whatever. I take everything with a grain of salt until I have evidence and proof. So this guy is insistent. He tells me that he is a 18 Zulu who I've spoken to before, and he really needs to get this stuff to me. And then he talks about you. He says, I need you to get me in contact with Sean Ryan. I'm like, dude, I don't know Sean Ryan. I'm not that big, but he's insistent that I get him diverted to media sources, says go to Fox News, whatever else. And I said, all right, tell me what you got. So I give him my Proton email account, give him my signal number, and he reaches out immediately. And I'm going to read this initial message for you because doesn't have names or anything else on it. But
Now, Signal is another app for anybody that doesn't know.
This was his message on Sunday. He reached out and said, like I said, this last Sunday, he said, sending with a VPN active on Wi-Fi only. Do not message me. I will send out updates via both Signal and email, but trust me, you're going to want to be involved. Well, first of all, no, I didn't want to be involved.
So this is the actual messages he's getting before he receives the email directly from Matthew.
Anyways, and then so I didn't message. I responded back to his original Instagram message, and I said, hey, I got your message on Proton Mail, and he said, cool, delete this. So I deleted it. That's how I ended up getting this message on Tuesday. So the message that this right here, this manifesto, if you want to call it that, came in on Tuesday. And when I started reading this, my initial take was, okay, this is off the deep end. It's bonkers. I can't validate or verify any of the stuff in this manifesto.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him that in a subsequent email. And I'll read that to you later, my response to him.
And for YouTube's sake, let me just go ahead and say this. This is all alleged information until it is confirmed. I I can speculate on it just like they can speculate on what they've derived from the information that they have. And I believe this guy is a 100% credible source, but that's just my opinion for YouTube's sake. And so that's why we have to say alleged on some of this stuff, because believe it or not, the government is still super actively involved in doing one thing or another about this story. Whether it be cover it up and kill it, go after the people that are promoting different narratives, that's still always a possibility. So for YouTube's sake and for my sake and for my listeners' sake and anybody involved, including Mr. Sean Ryan, it is time to be careful. Until Trump gets back in office, we should be very careful as to what we spill the beans on involving our government. Not that they don't need the beans spilled, because I believe this guy probably took his own life, or maybe that wasn't him in the vehicle. There's a lot of speculation. I think Elon has weighed in and said that's not possible. But we're not going to get into the hypotheticals at this point. But this guy, Sam Shoemaker, is definitely a whistleblower. He is definitely doing what he is meant to do. He is bringing the truth of the story that we all knew, that Matthew Livelsberger himself didn't get a chance to tell us all. He obviously had a motive not to kill people, but to blow something up in front of one of Trump's buildings so it probably gets maximum exposure in a vehicle that had mostly fireworks in the back of it, so it would explode but not really do a lot of damage to anybody except for the person in the vehicle. I think it was a show for attention more than anything else, and they touch on that as well.
And once again, my response to him elicited, hey, get me in contact with Sean Ryan, Fox News, and he even said Pete Hegseth. Get me in contact with Hegseth. And I'm like, dude, I don't have the incoming Secretary of Defense's phone number. Sorry, bro. That's the last time I talked to him. So yesterday morning.
What date was that?
That was Tuesday. That was this Tuesday. So we're Friday now. That was 3 days ago.
So
the day before.
30th?
Yeah, the day before the attack. I dismissed this stuff out of hand.
The 31st. It was on the 31st.
Yes. In fact, I posted something on my... I told your producer about this as well. But this was a post I made on Twitter. I was just trying to be humorous, off the cuff. It was... I didn't mean anything about it. I was just being humorous for my audience. I said, my inbox was especially eventful today. Allegations of war crimes, government anti-gravity technology, and fears about being tracked and watched by the feds. It's always, the world is ending and I have this information that needs to get to the media, and never, how you doing, brother? Everything all right? I was just playing off of a meme.
Mm-hmm.
This was him playing off of the conversation, the meme of, he was making a meme basically about the fact that he has crazy people all the time calling or get in contact with him. I've got a story of a lifetime for you. It's conspiracy theory, blue lasers, blah, blah. I'm sure he hears it all. Being that type of channel, being able to receive all the people that have an idea how to fix the government, fix the military, expose the corruption. I'm sure he probably gets a lot of crazies in with his mix of people trying to divulge information to him. But I actually believe this was a pretty credible source. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this much of the story. There's so much backstory to this already. Mr. Shoemaker, as far as I'm concerned, is a very brave human being. I'm glad he brought this stuff to not just the government, but to the internet before the government had time to shut it down. And that was actually the best answer. Maybe if this guy did blow himself up in order to tell his story, maybe this is the story being told right now. Maybe this is what his purpose was. And if that's the case, I'm happy to be a part of it. If it exposes what really happened involving the actual email, which I'm getting to, folks. It's coming quick. Here we go. We're getting into the email now. I believe that's the next clip. It's brutal, folks. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to soak in, and it is just, I'm just like, wow. All right, this thing didn't save my clip where I was. Let's go back. I know where.
And aircraft. About that came in. I 1040.
This is nuts.
Good thing I wrote this stuff down, folks. Sometimes this thing doesn't save my progress in particular spots. But today I made me a cheat sheet. Made my life a little easier. As far as when this thing screws up on me or I lose a frame or whatever, I got to go refine something. A little cheat sheet, just as good as a brain at times. Now this here is getting into it deep, folks. Here we go.
And it goes from there. And I sat there for probably an hour talking to my wife. I'm shaking. I can't even think straight. Like, normal day is shot, and I didn't know what I want to do. Do I sit on this? Do I do nothing with it? I've got to tell somebody. I've got to tell the FBI at least, because this is huge. This is all over the news. And then I was like, well, dude, this guy wanted to get in contact with Sean Ryan, so let me get this to Sean Ryan, see if I can get with him. And I had a buddy who knew your producer, and we went from there. But
wow.
Good job.
You want to read the email?
Yep. So,
and Sean Ryan has been contacted. Sean Ryan was contacted several times. That's on the Gateway Pundit article by CID and different three-lettered agencies that wanted to brief him on who he could and couldn't talk about. They were on the email, other operatives that were obviously still active duty.
Email came in on December 31st at 10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, in case I do not make it to my decision point or on to the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes, he says drones, is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the U.S.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there. For anybody that doesn't know, gravitic, I've only heard this term about half a dozen times, listened to Joe Rogan and Stephen Greer and some of these astrophysicists and stuff that talk about propulsion systems from other places like the ufologists and things, and then you're kind of getting into the squishy, do you believe it, or is it all is it all theory? I believe that there are so many technologies that our government has, whether they built them themselves, whether they found them, whether they stole them, no matter how they come across the information to build them. Our government has many devices that are beyond our comprehension as far as their abilities technologically, and I'll just leave it at that. But I do want to highlight the things that he does say in this video that just really kind of shocked me. And talking about gravitic, he's talking about UFOs. He's talking about drones that move so fast that you can't track them with radar and things. And propulsion systems, gravitic propulsion systems, to the layman, that's anti-gravity. Just crazy stuff.
Do you want to read the email?
Yep. So this email came in on December 31st at 10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, in case I do not make it to my decision point or on to the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes, he says drones, is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the U.S. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPSEN, that's Operation Center, our OPSEN location for this activity is in the box below. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they used the balloon for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comms system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted. It's checkmate. U.S. government needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how
y'all hearing this, folks? If these weapons are real, which a lot of video footage shows that they are, the orbs and things, it is checkmate. If you can literally fly over each other's central nervous system, for example, our Pentagon, our Capitol, our nuclear site facilities, and be there in a split second, do as much damage as necessary, and never even have to have a human involved in the process. That's a pretty scary thought, folks, but that's what we're getting to with technology, with or without gravity weapons. And with gravity weapons or gravity machines, gravity propulsion systems, we haven't caught up on the radar, on the ability to keep up with these things. They obviously have some technology they don't understand completely because they obviously don't know how to track it 100%. Maybe that's what the neutrinos is about. I believe that has a lot to do with that. If you don't know anything about neutrinos, go look up Antarctica neutrinos. That's a crazy story as well. But we'll go ahead and get back into this.
China is employing them in what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast. I've been followed for over a week now from likely Homeland or FBI, and they are looking to move on me and are unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know I am armed and I have a massive VBID. Let me pause right there for a second. So he says a massive VBID. When I was talking to the FBI yesterday, they didn't know what a VBID was. I had to explain what that acronym meant, literally.
You fucking serious?
Dead serious. I said it twice, and he goes, "You said that word VBID. Can you tell me what that is?"
It's a vehicle IED. It's basically a car bomb, folks. And the FBI don't know what a car bomb is. Maybe they don't know the military terminology. Maybe somebody from the military should train the FBI on how to look for terrorists inbound. Know what a car bomb is on technical terms. Know how to identify them. What we're looking for. There are so many things that should overlap between the military and the three-lettered agencies as far as training skills go that I think is mostly compartmentalized, which is really a disadvantage to our country. No doubt about it. All right, we're going to jump over the next clip, folks. It's a crazy story. This is some nuts stuff. That email alone, if this is all credible stuff, that email explains more about what we've known about the whole situation than anything else. It is now here's another copy of the actual manifesto. Let me show you this here. This here is this is the Sam Shoemaker. Hey dude, can you call me please before tomorrow's show? Time sensitive. Or no, not Shoemaker. This is Sean Ryan's text message that was sent to him from the government, from CID, from the military counterintelligence division, to let him know that there were several people that he was probably going to be mentioning in his interview with this guy, Mr. Shoemaker, that they couldn't be mentioning because the government obviously knows about this whole situation. But they're not telling the media. They're not telling us. So we got to find out through podcasters. Thank God we are the media now. This just proves it. Just another example that proves it. The government's never going to tell us. The media's never going to tell us. We're going to have to go find it on a Devoted Patriots 2 channel or some channel like that, Sean Ryan Show, to find out what's really going on when they're lying to us about everything that's happening in the world, especially here in America. These acts of terrorism, I don't know what to think. I really don't. It's just crazy. Just to see how manipulated our entire society has become by our twisted government. All right, let's jump down to the 36-minute mark. I'm so glad I wrote this down. I'd have been all messed up.
This got done.
Must be done before the
changed. That it's gonna, not explode like he wants it to with fireworks and a bunch of other junk when he can make a car bomb that's gonna level this place. Here's what I think. So the PAO, the Army PAO,
they're speculating on why this guy that was so militarily proficient took a stainless steel truck and put a bomb in the back of it so it didn't even break the windows of the Trump Tower. Now, my speculation is he did it at a Trump Tower not to hurt people, but to get the most media attention because it was at a Trump Tower. I think that would have been the ideal place for his mindset to be able to get the maximum exposure. And it like he says, like several people have speculated, he did not put gasoline and fireworks in the back of the truck and explode it in order to kill a bunch of people. It was more of a, I'm putting my flag in the ground, I'm standing up, I'm making a statement, I'm exposing this, I'm asking somebody to come dig deeper into what the hell happened here today. And that's where we're at today. Sean Ryan, thank you for bringing this out. Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker. And thank you, anybody that's listening to this right now that is willing to do the extra legwork and share this video, because this is crazy stuff. It's not viral yet, but I bet you in the next couple of hours, this will be the most viral thing to hit X, if not the internet, and maybe even bleed over into mainstream media a little bit before it's all said and done. But I'm glad to be able to bring it to y'all here as quick as it come out, within the first hour or two of it dropping. This is just crazy news, and I'm glad to be able to bring it to you. Here we go, more to it.
Is saying that the body inside the cab did not match the DNA of his child. All right. We also know that there was no, they said he was shot by a Desert Eagle. We know that there was no signature when it rolled up. So nobody shot themselves when it rolled up to it. You would have seen a large signature. Mr. Guns and Gear, he's on X. He goes into this a lot in depth. He's a firearms expert, and he talks about this. There's no signature. So this is what happens. You get a Tesla because you know it can drive itself up to the hotel, the Trump Tower. You put a body in it, roll it up. It's already burned up, or it's already shot, excuse me. You don't want to kill anybody because that's not the message you're trying to send. You're not trying to level the tower or kill a bunch of people. So you load it up with fireworks and a bunch of junk to send a message. And we know that his signal number or his signal safety number changed. That can't be done unless you're inside that signal account. And a lot of people conjecture, was the FBI inside his signal account, whatever else. But what if he accidentally changed his safety number?
At this point, he may be accurate, but he is speculating on why this guy's app, basically password, signal number, had been changed, because he was corresponding with the guy, and he knew the signal number. He had this information. The Sam Shoemaker guy had this information on his phone. And people on Twitter start speculating about the number being changed. So he literally goes and says, I've got the original number. And he goes and he checks it with the new number of this signal account. And it's obviously been changed, and he's got the proof. So that just corroborates and confirms that he's not lying. That most likely the minute this guy killed himself, the government went to covering this up, possibly meaning they knew about it, was in on it. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. Maybe even the fact that they went in and maybe he went in and changed things up right before he killed himself. Who knows about the exact minute-to-minute timeline, but it's really fishy that his signal account, not password, but actual reference number to be able to communicate with him directly, basically his phone number, had been changed. Strange stuff going on, folks. The government is lying to us, and we may actually find the truth on this one.
Goofed up there. He rolled a body up in a Tesla specifically because a Tesla can drive itself up to the tower, and did what he did to send a message to expose his stuff, and he's still alive out there somewhere.
Well, the other
answers a lot of questions.
The other thing is maybe
that's hypothetical, that he is not dead, that he perpetrated this whole action in order to bring all this to the table. Maybe this was the flashbang before the big story to get everybody trying to figure out what the story is, so that way when he does bring the story out, it will have more presentation.
FBI wasn't in his phone. Maybe, I mean, this guy's obviously very competent. I mean, he's got a TSSCI clearance. I'm sure with a polygraph. He's been associated with USASOC. Obviously, he was on this operation in 2019. By the way, the general in charge of that was General Miller. You'll see that in the email that we post on X later after this interview comes out. Maybe he changed his number on purpose and switched phones because he obviously was tipped off or conducted his own counter surveillance and caught Homeland or FBI tracking him. And so I think there's a very good possibility that that Matthew Livelsberger might be still alive.
It checks, as far as I can tell, it checks all the blocks.
The Desert Eagle, the Desert Eagle, I mean,
we won't get into that. Now, I'm going to read part of that excerpt to you since we get done with these couple of clips here. Apologize, folks. We back to...
They said thank you, and we'll be in touch if
UNMA.
Anybody, because that's not the message you're trying to send. You're not trying to level the things had to be
contact number on Signal. 20 plus year in special operations at the highest level. Picked a car that's bulletproof to do this. I think, there definitely wasn't mass casualties. He wasn't trying to hit mass casualties, because otherwise he would have done it at another location as well, or the bomb would have been bigger to take the entire building
I agree.
out. And so this definitely wasn't, in my opinion, incompetence.
Another thing to support this. So you got the email. He desperately wanted to talk to you before December 31st. He knew beyond a shadow of a doubt January 1st was go day. Nobody was pressuring him. At the beginning of this email, we see, first of all, I'm not under duress or hostile influence or control. Okay, so he says that he reached out to you. He was very emphatic that it had to be before December 31st because he was doing this thing on January 1st. For some reason, that was a landmark day to him. Maybe it was just because big day for everybody, January 1st. But he was very emphatic that was the time. And then the thing he was trying to do was, overall, more than anything, was get a message across on the biggest platforms possible. He was trying to talk to Pete Hegseth. Why would you want to talk to the Secretary of Defense? He's trying to blow the whistle on these war crimes. He's trying to say this thing happened, man.
Yes.
Like, I can't live with this anymore. He desperately needed to talk to you, the biggest platform out there. He needed to talk to Fox News. I need to get this message out. That was his overall goal. In everything else, everything I've seen, I have not seen the intended goal was to kill himself or to create a mass casualty event. It is to get this message out. And how can I do that? What is the biggest bang for my buck? How can I get that done?
I agree. That's what happened. Now, maybe the story will be exposed after today because of this broadcast, because of Sean Ryan, because of Mr. Shoemaker, because of everything that we know so far about what has happened here. I got one last clip here I wanted to bring to y'all.
His overall goal.
Before I finish reading you the manifest.
For social media. And
Colonel Green Beret through metal detectors for over a year that this is coming, and nobody wants to take it seriously. We contacted the House of Foreign Affairs Committee. They did like a Zoom call.
Yeah, that's
just for a little media hit.
This is actually Sean Ryan actually trying his best to communicate with our government, our Congress, our three-letter agencies about any time he encounters a situation where he believes it warrants their presence, their necessity to understand that, hey, we have a problem over here. This is one of those situations that they were reaching out to him before he had time to reach out to them. This guy as well. It's just crazy how the chain of command works, and I'm just glad to see we're changing it. Podcasting, exposing things, X, citizen journalists, whistleblowers. things are changing, folks. And when somebody is either set up by the government or is a false flag for something involving crime, any kind of criminality, any kind of thing that needs to be exposed, there's always a deceptive cover story, whether it be run by the mainstream media or by the government themselves, the intelligence agencies directly. And now we have actually a counteractive process to deal with that. It's called social media, and I love it. I'm just so glad that I hate the internet for a lot of things that it has brought to the world, but at the same time, I must say thank God for the internet for bringing us the ability to expose these tyrants that are telling lies, trying to get us to believe stuff that we know is not true. And that comes all the way down to the core of the center of the government, these three-lettered agency heads that would rather lie to the American public and not have them worry about what the government's doing. And that's the bottom line. All right, folks, this is the last clip, but I will go ahead and finish letting you listen to or reading the rest of the manifesto. Crazy stuff.
Our government is failing us. And so it's in our hands now. It's your kids. It's your wife. It's your husband. It's your parents that are going to pay the price for what we have installed in this country. And it's now up to us because they aren't going to do anything. So on that note, like I said, it'll be on my X account, Sean Ryan.
And there's several clips of this stuff on my X account as well, including the documentation of the email. Let's see if I have it here. Bear with me, folks. I'm jumping around. I'm actually looking for something. I hate to have to hunt for stuff while I'm on air with you guys. It's just not the way I prefer to do it. I like to be organized in advance. Not that I'm that organized of a person. It just sure makes it easier when you're ready. In the meantime, you'll have to put up with my spooling. All right. I'm backing it up. Let's go back to the Gateway Pundit. They've got it. And I have to put my goggles on, folks. Oh, they're not dirty today. I'm shocked. They're usually greasy, smudged, or something. I don't know what y'all think about the story. Hopefully everybody got something to say in the comment section about what the hell we've learned here today. I'm going to read this part of this manifesto to you. It hadn't disappeared. All right, bear with me, folks. Okay, here we go. Guy says, in case I don't make it to my decision point or into the Mexico border, I am sending this now. This is the driver, in theory, the one that blew up in the car. He says, please do not release this until January 1st. Keep my identity private until then, please. So I'm guessing this guy maybe just blew himself up in order to expose something to the world. That's dedication. Wow. Crazy, but wow. It says, this is the craziest part of the whole thing to me. It says, what we have seen with drones is the operational use of gravitational propulsion systems powered by aircraft by most recent China and East Coast, but throughout history, the U.S. Only we in China have this capability. Our open location for this activities in the box is below. China has been launching them from Atlantics from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similarly how they use it with the balloon for Signet and ISR, which is also a part of the integrated comms system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. Spy balloons, basically. So what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aerial vehicles, ACs, aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have the unlimited payload capacity, bomb explosive capacity, and can park over the White House if they wanted. It's checkmate. So this is the equivalent of having basically nuclear bombs on a drone that travels faster than we're capable to keep up with on radar because it has some crazy propulsion system that we probably dug up, found, or stole from somebody. Who knows? He says I've been followed for over a week, likely Homeland Security or FBI, maybe even the CIA at this point. They are looking to move in on me and unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know I am armed and have a massive car bomb. I've been trying to maintain a very visible profile, and they have kept my phone, and they are definitely digitally tracking me. It says I conducted target. This is the messed up part right here. This is him telling a little bit about his military service. I've been trying to maintain a very visible profile. I have knowledge of this program and also of war crimes that are covered up during the airstrikes of Nimrod's Providence in Afghanistan in 2019. Wouldn't that be Obama's term? Yes, sir. By the administration of DOD, DEA, and CIA. I conducted targeting for these strikes. Over 125 buildings, 65 were struck with CIVCAS. I'm guessing these are some kind of weaponry, missiles that killed the civilians that killed hundreds of civilians in a single day. U.S. FORA continued strikes after spotting civilians on initial ISR. It was supposed to take 6 minutes and scramble all aircraft to central communications. The UN basically called these war crimes, but the administration made them disappear anyway. So he's basically telling in this manifesto email that he was part of a cover-up to not talk about the fact that they killed civilians in process of trying to go after drug labs in Afghanistan. That's actually the full story. I read the whole thing. It says I was a part of the cover-up with U.S. FORA and the agents redacted of the DEA, so I don't know if my abduction attempt is related to either. So he's basically saying I don't know why they're chasing me. He says I work with General Miller, 10 staff on this, as well as the response of Bala Margahav, AOBS command. At the time, redacted can validate this. So they actually had to redact a couple names that were in this as well because they were active military, and that's why they come to the Sean Ryan show. Or CID called the Sean Ryan show, emailed them, said you can't be mentioning my soldiers. They still may be in a compromised position overseas somewhere. Who knows? Says you need to elevate this to the media so we can avoid a world war because this is a mutually assured destructive situation. For vetting, my LinkedIn is Matt Berg or Matthew Levelsberg, an active duty 18 Zulu out of 1-10. My profile is public. I have an active. So he's basically saying, here's my credentials. This is who I am. This is how to reach me. And here's the full email as well if you want to go back and check it out. Yeah, this is from the DEA to Sean Ryan on Twitter or on X. They attempted to contact him through LinkedIn and said, hey, dude, can you call me tomorrow before the show? Please, time sensitive. Ooh-wee. I don't know what to think about the story, folks. Tell me what you think.